Hi, welcome to Duke City Fencing's online mini Musketeer class. I wish you were here, but I'm glad you're here online. I hope you had a chance to warm up before today's class. Maybe at least 8 minutes of activity. You could run around, you could jog, you could do high knees, you could do butt kickers, you could just play. But I want you to be warm before class. Before we start, I'd like to know who you are, who's with us today. Even though I can't hear you, it's good practice for when we're together again. So let's sit down, and I'll start. My name is Toby, I'm 54, and let's have a question for the day. How do you feel about being home today? So I would say that Duke City Fencing is like my second home, so I like being home today. How about you? Remember when you say your name to say it clearly and how you'd like other people to say your name. Let's start. We're going to work with on guard. So find a line in your house if you can. You can use a piece of tape to make a line for your class. And we're going to come on guard. There are a couple of ways to come on guard. Some of you just know how to do it already. But if you're not sure, put your feet together. And if you use this hand to write your right hand, take your left foot, turn it sideways. It's also called a right angle. And then step forward. If you write with your left hand, the one that makes the L, you can look down and turn your right foot out and step forward. So here's our on guard. There's one other cool way that Maestro Vandro likes to think about coming on guard. Imagine you're getting on a horse. The reins, and you're going to have to step over that horse. There you are. Now take your back leg and bring it behind you. Keep that nice bend in your legs. So those are my legs for my on guard, right? Take a look at your steering wheel. Is it pointing towards who you want to touch? Super. Now your front arm, the one that extends, should be in front of your body. That's why we call it a front arm. It shouldn't be touching your body. And then we've got your back arm. I call it a back arm because it's in the back, right? I like to think of this back arm as silently waving to my opponent. Hi, I'm planning how to touch you. So we have on guard. Let's think of 5 things that make a good on guard. I bet you can do this. You can say it out loud. 1 thing. Did anybody say my steering wheel is pointed forward? Good job. 2 things. Did anybody say that both legs are bent? Good job. What about looking forward? Did anybody say looking forward with my body up? That's great. That's 3 things. Did anybody mention the hands? That my back hand is in where? In back? Sometimes when we fence and someone tries to touch us, we have this habit. So it's good practice to keep the back hand in back. We need 1 more thing for a good on guard. What could it be? Steering wheel straight, legs are bent, I'm looking forward. My back hand is in back. My front hand is in front, I'm looking forward. Beautiful. Shake it off. Come on guard. Is it perfect? What do you think? Good job. We're going to play a game with our body parts. It's kind of like hokey pokey. I want to see if you can do it with me. So, whatever body part I move, I want you to move too. Because when we fence, each part of us, our hands and our legs, need to move independently from each other. So let's try it. So I'm on guard, and see if you can follow. Were you able to keep up? Good job. So we practiced extending. We practiced letting the back arm down, which happens when, what? When we lunge. And when we come back up. We practiced the front foot, which starts first when we advance. And we practice the back foot, which happens when we retreat. Good job. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to have you have a little bit of water, and we're going to come back and we're going to do some work with beanies. But maybe you don't have a beanie at home. You can use a pair of rolled up socks. I'll show you. Welcome back from your water break. Did you have some water? It's important to stay hydrated. We live in the desert, and as an athlete, you need to keep your muscles hydrated. So we're going to be working on extensions, and I brought some things that we can catch. And I'm sure you can find something creative to catch at home. Here at the club, we use beanies. You could use a small ball. This is a tennis ball. You could even use a pair of socks. This pair of socks is from our sock drawer, our famous sock drawer here at Duke City Fencing. Who knows why we have a sock drawer? These socks are tall socks. And when we fence, we need to have tall socks on. I bet if you've been to a Friday night fights here, an electric tournament, you can tell us why we need those tall socks, right? If the whole body is target in epee, you don't want to get poked in the skin because you had short socks on, so tall socks. I'm going to use the beanie for our drill. So we're working on extensions in sets of 5. So I want you to come on guard. You've got that down. With your arm in the right place, you've got that down. And we're going to throw our beanie and catch it. When you throw your beanie, don't throw it so high you couldn't even see it. Only to the height of your head. And catch. Notice when you finish catching that your arm is extended, just like you've made a touch. So let's try it. Did you notice when I caught the beanie, did anything else move? Did my ears wiggle? Did my legs wiggle? You tell me. Did they wiggle? I don't think so. I don't want your ears to wiggle or your legs to move when we're working on your arm in this drill. So those are 5 extensions. What if your opponent is farther away? We need to add an advance, so let's do it. Is that 5? You need to be able to count to 5 to be in this class. 5 is an important number. Do you know why? Can you tell me? When we fence a pool bout, not this kind of pool, a fencing pool bout, what number do we go to? That's right, it's 5. Now, did you notice when I made an advance what kind of advance it was? What's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't this type of advance. It was a small advance, right? But what if you cannot reach the person you want to touch with a small advance? What are we going to use? Yes, I can hear you screaming. It's a lunge, all right? So we're going to do 5 lunges. But maybe we have to learn something new. What's new? Let's see. On guard? That's not new. Extension? That's not new. Maybe the front foot? No, we practiced that today. Maybe it's the backhand. Oh, no, we practiced that today. I think the only thing we have to practice is the recovery from the lunge. Here we go. From your lunge, you need to bend the back leg and push off that front heel to come back. So that's the only thing new. So we're going to do 5. Was that 5? Did you drop your beanie? Yeah. What happens if you drop your beanie? You just pick it up and start again, right? It's practice. So did you notice when we lunged that our hand went first and it also came back last? Let's watch. The hand needs to go first, and we leave it out there as the last thing too. Fencing with your arm first, that's a little bit different. Fencers are different. For instance, if there was a glass of orange juice on the counter there and I wanted to get it, I would walk over and pick up the orange juice. But as a fencer, when we're practicing, how would we do that? We'd reach for the orange juice and go get it. So you're a fencer, so I want you to practice hand first. Okay? Now, maybe some of you have been in this class for a long time, and this catching the beanie or not is too easy. So I'm going to give you a challenge. We're going to add an extra action in to help get you faster arms, faster hands. It's going to be a thigh tap. So, can you do that? Did you see it? And maybe you can do it with an advance. Maybe you can do it with a lunge. All right. If you can do that, if you can send me a video of you, I'll give you an extra challenge, okay? But this helps us to have fast hands and learn to extend first before we move towards our opponent. We're going to be doing some target work next, so let's take a water break. Welcome back. Are you ready for some target work? I brought some things with us, and you'll need to have these things too, okay? So, I got a piece of paper. Your piece of paper does not need to be this big, but I like a big piece of paper. Now I'm going to stick it on my wall here. You want to make sure that you work with your family to find a piece of paper and to find the right place to put it. Now for our target work, I've got a couple of things here. This is a little play sword. It's made out of foam, so when I hit the wall, it's going to be okay. I also have a noodle. I like to use the noodles. A lot of you may have a noodle at home. If you're here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you don't have a noodle, let me know. We can try to get you a noodle. Now, I've got the noodle. I've got my paper. I need to draw a target. I've got a pen. So if you save this target, we won't have to do this the next time. I'll just ask you to pull out your target. So let's draw a fencer. I'm going to start with a head. And when we're fencing, what are we usually wearing? A mask. So I'm going to, that's my mask. Some shoulders. One's the right and one's the left, right? Let's label them. Right and left. Let's give our fencer a body or a torso. Huh? Let's put in a belly button. So now we have our target on our wall that's approved by our family. And I'm going to use my noodle. So I'd like you to get yourself ready and on guard. We need to find extension distance. Can you tell me what that is? It's the distance where I can hit with an extension. Now, what if I was here and I extended? Is that good? No? Why? I'm leaning. Well, what about, I'm not going to lean this time. What about that? Is that good? No? It's too close? I'm going to take a retreat. Is that a good extension distance? Good. Do you have a good on guard? Is your steering wheel straight? Okay. Now, anybody can hit a piece of paper on the wall. Especially my piece of paper is really big. So let's give ourselves a challenge. Right arm, left arm, belly button, middle of mass. We're fencing épée with this noodle. This is my épée. And who can tell me what the target is in épée? The whole body. All right, here we go. Right arm, left arm, belly button, middle of mass. Can you do it? Really good. The best way to do it is slowly. If you can do it slowly, then you'll be able to do it quickly. But if you do it quickly at first and you miss, you're actually teaching your body to miss. So let's go slowly. Right arm, left arm, belly button, mask. All right? We can make it even more challenging. I think you're ready for that. I'm going to take my marker, and I'm going to put some numbers on here. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Shall we add a couple more? Number 5. How about one way down here? Number 6. My fencer is missing legs and feet, but are legs and feet target in épée? They sure are. Before we start our target, what has to happen? Perfect on guard, legs bent, steering wheel straight. Say it with me, back hand and back, front hand. Too close. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I missed one. Every time we miss one, let's start over. Can you say it with me? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I missed 4. We're going to have to start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you get through all 6? Good job. Now, it's pretty easy standing still, right? Let's try it moving. Let's use an advance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what that means, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What if my opponent is even farther? Can you do it with a lunge? Let's try it on your own. Count out. If you miss your target, let's practice. Start over. finish up. Let's take a water break and find something fun and challenging to do. All right, welcome back. I promised you a challenge for our last bit here. Now we've been doing a lot of work on guard and target work, and we haven't been doing a lot of moving yet. Fencing is really about a lot of movement. Small micro movements, not running forward, sometimes running away, but not too far. But I want to see if we can do little movements. Now, of course, if you were on guard, you could advance and you could retreat, you could lunge, you could cross back, right? But you still have to have a weapon, right? There's my weapon. My blade is parallel to the ground, meaning it's in the same plane or line as the ground. It's not up in the air. I'm pointing it towards my opponent. That's you. My backhand is behind. I could advance and retreat and lunge. But here's your challenge. You take your noodle and balance it on your fingers. Okay? Then I want you to come on guard. And then I want you to move. Try to keep your arm in front of you and make small movements. All right? That's my challenge for you. You can practice any of this without watching me, but I like to do it with you. So before we go, let's salute. Feet together in basic position. That's when the heels are touching. On guard, they're apart and our legs are bent, but basic position, the feet are together. We're going to look at our opponent. We're going to salute. I point towards their nose, and then I remember to bring it in towards my nose. And I bring my weapon arm whoosh, down by my front leg. You know which leg that is. Thank you.